For those who don't know me, my name is Louche. I have loved Pokemon my entire life, from watching the show to playing the games, so much so that years later I would play competitive battles at a high level. I have now solo queued my way to Master Rank in Pokemon Unite and will be using the knowledge that I've gained to help you get those victories. Hey everybody, and welcome to your beginner's guide for Pokemon Unite. Let's start off by talking about the classes that the Pokemon are divided into. So first off, you've got your defenders. This is your front line. These are your tanks. These are the Pokemon that will be engaging in the fights, and most of your team will be playing around. Next up, you've got your supports. These are going to be your healers, your crowd controllers, and your disengagers. These are going to be the Pokemon that help the backline and the front line survive throughout the fights. Next up, you've got your attackers. Now, these are your ranged damage characters. They want to be sitting behind the tanks, and they want to be putting damage out in the fights and burning down objectives. Then we have the speedsters. These are your assassin-style characters. These are the mobile characters that do high damage but have very low defenses. These are the ones that will be jungling throughout the game, and they will be trying to pick off kills and burst down the enemy attackers. Last but not least, we have the all-rounders. These are your bruisers. They're going to be in the center of the fights. They're going to be brawling, and they're going to be bulky and offensive at the same time. Now let's talk about the items. First up, you have your battle items. These are your active items you'll be using in battle. They'll be granting you some kind of an advantage, like an instant teleport, a movement speed increase, or even an attack raise. Next up, we have your held items. These will be equipped to your Pokemon before the battle, and they will grant you flat stat increases and also grant you passive effects. Something you want to keep in mind of when you're equipping your items is that your Pokemon's attack type falls under one of two categories. You have your attackers, which is known as your physical attackers, and you have your special attackers. Equipping an item that has a separate attack type to the Pokemon you're using will have essentially no effect. Another thing you want to do is go into your settings and change your controls to advanced controls. This will give you manual control over whether you want to attack a wild Pokemon or an enemy Pokemon. Each Pokemon starts the game at level 1, with the maximum level being level 15. You'll gain experience by defeating wild Pokemon and enemy Pokemon, and also by scoring goals. Each Pokemon has 4 moves, though you'll only be able to choose 2 in your battle, and each Pokemon has an ultimate move, which is known as their Unite move. Let's talk a little bit about the map. So the map is broken up into 3 sections. You have your top lane, your bottom lane, and the central area. The top lane is home to the Rotom, the bottom lane is home to the Dreadnought, and the central area is home to Zapdos. For more information on these objectives, check out my quick objective guide. I'll post the link to that in the description. Both the top lane and the bottom lane will have goals on them. The objective of this game is to score more points than your opponents. You do this by dunking them into the goals. Leading towards your goals in the lane will be an area known as the Flux Zone. This gives your team a movement speed increase, and it decreases the movement speed of the enemy team. It helps you get away and get to lane a little faster. Once a goal is destroyed, the Flux Zone that connected it to the other goal will disappear as well. So getting rid of a Flux Zone can really help you cripple your enemy team. Another way to get through the lanes a little quicker will be the jump pad. Now this spawns at 5 minutes into the game, so you won't have access to this early, but it will be very useful throughout the late game. Let's talk about the phases of the game. So first up, you have your laning phase. This lasts roughly 3 minutes and will be different depending on where you are in the map. If you're in the top lane, which in the current meta is usually an all-rounder paired with a support, you want to contest that central Corphish to deny XP from your enemy and gain it for yourself. After that, depending on your pressure, you'll either be pressuring their wild Pokemon or going for your own, whilst defending your goal and trying to score on theirs. Something you won't want to forget is to be ready for the bees that will spawn at 850 in the center of your lane. They're a big XP swing, and you really want to be there for them. Now sometimes you'll stick around up there to fight for the 720 bees, other times you'll start rotating down early for the Dreadnought. If you're in the top lane, you want to rotate down for that Dreadnought fight at 7 minutes. Sometimes you want to keep one person up there. For more information on that, check out my Offlane guide. I'll post a link to that in the description. If you're in the bottom lane, which in the current meta will usually be an attacker paired with a defender, it's fairly similar to the top lane. You want to contest that central Ordino to get the XP for yourself and deny it from your enemy, while the same reading the pressure in the lane and trying to either pressure their wild Pokemon or get your own safely. You'll really want to defend that goal in the bottom lane, because if that gets broken before the 7 minute mark, it's very likely that the enemy team will get that Dreadnought and there's not much you'll really be able to do about it. Just like in the top lane, you want to be there for the 850 bees in the center of the lane, and you will be contesting the 720 bees as you're already in the bottom lane for the Dreadnought. If you're in the central area, you'll be what's known as the jungler. Now this is usually the speedster, although in the current meta, there are 2 Pokemon in other roles that seem to dominate this position. I think someone at Team Studios really likes water type Pokemon. Your job here is to farm up the wild Pokemon and gain your buffs, and then use those to gank either the top or the bottom lane. The central area holds the most XP, so you are a vital point to your team. When picking a lane to gank, you want to keep in mind who's on your team, and you'll probably want to gank your strongest lane, because you don't want to be ganking your weakest lane and then getting counter ganked and then really falling behind. Make sure to time your appearance in lane with the 850 Bs because you want to be helping your team get those, before heading back into the central area and continuing farming up. You'll likely want to be going for the 720 Bs in the bottom lane before Dreadnought, because you want to be in that bottom lane ready for that Dreadnought fight. Next up we have the grouping phase. Once 7 minute hits, you're going to want to be with your team because this is when the team fights begin. You're going to want to start grouping here and not really leaving each other much for the rest of the game. This game is very much decided by the objectives and more often than not actually decided by that first Dreadnought. If your team secures that Dreadnought, you'll likely head straight up to the top lane to secure that Rotom and keep pressure going on the map. Next up we'll have what I call the farming phase. This is once all the objectives on the map have been destroyed and you're waiting for those 2-minute cooldown timers, you head back into your jungle and around the side lanes to farm up all the XP that you possibly can to either increase your lead if you're ahead or close that gap if you've fallen behind. You never want to be standing around doing nothing, you always want to make sure that you're having some kind of an impact on the game, whether that be doing something specifically in a fight or just increasing your level to have more of an impact in the next fight. After that you'll be grouping again for the next objectives, and you'll also be grouping together for that final fight at Zapdos. Now if you're ahead, don't attack Zapdos, it's unnecessary, just defend it with your team unless you get a full team wipe. If you're behind, you'll likely have to force a fight here to get Zapdos, or maybe just have to roll the dice and try to take it while the enemy team's still around. Now don't forget to try to find time in all these phases to score some points, because as I said, the objective of the game is to have more points than your opponents, so you want to make sure you're scoring those goals. I hope this guide has helped you understand the game a little bit better, and I really wish you the best on your endeavor. I love this game and I hope you love it too. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and let me know what else you'd like to see in the comment section.